What is up, everyone? Evan here, and today I'm going to be doing kind of a new series and a new spin on this channel. I noticed there's a lot of demand out there for a cheap budget build for a gaming PC, and there's a lot of different options on YouTube, and there's a lot of different options that you can see online, forums, but everybody has a different opinion, and a lot of these builds aren't totally optimized. It seems like a lot of people that either don't know what they're doing or kind of have an idea, have a lot of different opinions on what's the best bang for your buck, and then bias comes in, and really it's just a mess with what you can get for your money. So I'm going to be doing a few parts to this series, all different price ranges. This is going to be the cheapest build guide. This is going to be for $250. So it's really comparable with lower end PC gaming versus console gaming, because right now an Xbox One and a PS4 is probably going to run you around $350 depending on the bundle that you buy. So this is the build that I have built today. Theoretical build. I'm not going to actually be building any of these because I absolutely do not have the funds, unlike some other people on YouTube. But either way, I've researched every part that has been in here. I've looked at the reviews, I've looked at performance for gaming, and in my opinion, this is really the best that you can get. This is the best bang for your buck right here. So we're going to start off with the CPU. The CPU is an AMD A8 3.3 gigahertz quad-core processor. The AMD A8 7600 has as you can see down here, a Radeon R7 on die. The R7 is the entertainment level for AMD. So R9 is enthusiast, and then R5 and lower is like basic word processing level graphics. So it's right in the middle. I looked at reviews, I looked at some gameplay, and this will run any modern game at about 30 to 60 FPS depending on your settings, depending on whether or not you're playing at 1080 or 720p, and of course the kind of games you're going to be playing. Are you going to max out Grand Theft Auto 5 with this? Absolutely not. But can you max out Counter-Strike? Maybe. You can play modern games like, what's modern? Far Cry 4, Evolve, all those new titles will absolutely run on the CPU. So that's the processor. Here we have the motherboard. This is an ECS, very standard micro ATX FM2 Plus motherboard. FM2 Plus is one of the newer AMD sockets. In fact, it might be the newest, I'm not positive. But it's a newer AMD socket, FM2 Plus. It's really meant for the video class, the accelerated processors that AMD releases that have the graphics on die. But there are other options if you ever want to go that route. There's a 760 and 860K which have no on-die graphics and are just standard quad-core CPUs. But as you can see, it's a very small, standard motherboard. You're not getting a lot of frills with this, but you are getting some really decent bang for your buck here. It's got expandability for your graphics card with a PCIe slot. It's got room for 2 sticks of memory. It's got your standard USB, VGA, HDMI. So it's really everything that you're going to need or be able to expect from a $250 build. Return back here. We've got 1 stick of DDR3 1866 memory. It's a bit more expensive than what you can get for the DDR3 1600 memory, but because this is an accelerated on-die graphics card, it's going to be utilizing your internal system memory as the virtual memory for the graphics. So the faster the memory you can get in here, the better. So I went with 1866. Unfortunately, it is one 8 gig stick, so you're not going to get dual channel mode. But really the trade-off for dual channel mode 1600 versus 1866 one stick, I personally believe that it's absolutely worth it. And this is currently the cheapest option that you're going to be able to find. I will update this build periodically in the description. Probably every week or so I'll go back in, see what's increased in price, see what's dropped in price, because of course prices are always changing. But as of this recording on July 2nd, this is the best that you're going to be able to get for the money. Moving on, we have a standard Western Digital RE3 500 gigabyte 3.5 inch 7200 RPM internal hard drive. Very, very standard mechanical hard drive. 500 gigabytes is about the best you're going to be able to get for this budget. but it's a 7200 RPM. It's not a 5400 RPM, so it's a fairly fast hard drive and pretty good for the money again. This is the case that I decided to go with. And the reason I chose this case is because it has a built-in 300 watt power supply for about $25. That is an excellent deal and an excellent, really just excellent for any budget machine. I'm going to show you the Newegg page right here because that's what I usually go by, is Newegg reviews and stuff. This is what your computer is going to look like. If you absolutely hate this case, you can go with whatever else you want to go with. But the reason I went with this was because, again, the built-in 300 watt power supply is really more than you're going to need. This build itself only draws, let's see here, 154 watts of power. That's almost nothing. That's about half of what this power supply can put out. Does it leave a lot of room for expandability? No. But when you're working with this budget, expandability versus bang for your buck, whatever you can get, that's kind of a trade-off. It's not a terrible looking case. It's an all steel construction. It includes a case fan. It's very basic on the inside, but that's really the best you're going to get. And it has a cool little carrying handle. I mean, look at that. You can take it places and do things with it. And that's cool, I guess. It has a rear fan, standard I/O ports. So that's the case that I would recommend for this build. There are other options, but the problem with this is that if you're going to buy the case and the power supply separately, in order to get a power supply that's not going to explode like a Logisys or whatever, you're going to run into about the $50 range. They're going to be about $25 each. Really, buying a case with a built-in power supply is probably going to be your best bet. So, moving on. Finally, very standard LG DVD CD writer. You can even skip over this entirely if you don't use DVDs and CDs. Personally, I still do for software installations and the occasional movie or whatever. If you don't use that, if you're just going to install Windows or whatever you get, whatever operating system you get via USB, you can totally skip over this. It's entirely up to you. There are other options for this build, of course. This isn't the only option out there. You could probably run an Intel Pentium G 3258, the 20th anniversary overclockable edition, with a semi-decent graphics card. Personally, I don't like that because you already have to overclock the crap out of the Intel CPU to get comparable with the AMD quad-core. And really, when you've got a quad-core versus a dual-core processor, there's a lot of things like rendering that the Intel Pentium just can't keep up with. Gaming, yes, because games don't use more than 1 or 2 cores right now. Very few use a quad-core. But for more applications, I feel as though AMD really has this market cornered. And that's what I recommend that you should go with. I didn't include any promotional money-back guarantees or any things like that, because really with this, I'm considering it, you have $250 in your hand and that's all you can spend. If you go with the promotional deals and the mail-in rebates, that's the word I was looking for, you're going to get up to around the $310 range, and then you're going to send the mail-in rebates, and then it's going to come out to $230. But you have to have $300 for that to begin with. These builds, I'm going to be solid. You have $250 in your hand. This is what you can buy. And as you can see here, our total for right now comes out to $248.78. Leave any comments, suggestions, things that you might think might be better for this build, or any other build that you think would be great. And I thank you for watching, and hope you all have a great day.